And we're on good terms now, but I never addressed it. I never apologized once I figured out it was the balloon, and it did cause some disruption. So this is kind of my acceptance of what happened, my apology of sorry for mistaking you, and also the negligence kind of adds to me not taking care of this memory and not addressing it properly.
I'm here with Lexis Thompson today. She's a Texas-based sculptural artist here as a new resident at Franconia. She's going to talk to us a little bit about her process, about her new installation, and a little bit about herself.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for being on. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, cool.
So you have a beautiful installation. It's shockingly white. Are you going to be coming in and scrubbing that with the brush every night?
Oh, honestly, I was really hesitant about doing the white for a while. My work tends to be either white or sometimes red, but white just pops whenever it's outdoors, and I recognize it's going to get really dirty. I think that kind of aids, though, negligence. Let it be, let it do its thing. I'm going to leave them some cans of paint, so hopefully if it gets too bad, they'll touch it up.
Yeah. So you said negligence. What first was the name of the piece, and then what is a little bit idea behind the thought behind this?
So the name of the piece is Sorry I Mistook You. The piece kind of talks about an experience I had during my childhood. I lived with my mom and my other family members all in one house, and we were sharing a room with my mother and I. And there was some tension in the family, and one night I thought that my uncle had been inside my room, and I accused him of it the next day, and I was like, you were in my room, and I thought he was going to take my mom's prescription medication. And then lo and behold, I had like a Mylar balloon, and I had mistaken the shiny balloon for his balding head. And we're on good terms now, but I never addressed it. I never apologized once I figured out it was the balloon, and it did cause some disruption. So this is kind of my acceptance of what happened, my apology of sorry for mistaking you, and also the negligence kind of adds to me not taking care of this memory and not addressing it properly.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. I mean, for your own, it's not your fault that you would question that he would do that. It sounds like he gave you good reason to believe that. But you creating this installation piece that is going to sit here, it shows how much you have held on to that memory. And so any like ill will it might have been toward him, you say you're on good terms now, like that shows you've been holding this memory with you. It wasn't some fleeting thing that you accused him of. There was good reason behind it, and I'm sure a lot of emotion too.
Oh, for sure.
So how did you get your start in making art, and what made you lead more towards sculptures and installation pieces?
I started off, I was really into anime growing up.
What were some animes you liked?
Oh, geez. Naruto is like near and dear to my heart. That was the one that I got really interested in. I watched more mainstream stuff like Bleach and Dragon Ball.
I was big on Full Metal Alchemist.
So I watched Full Metal Alchemist before Brotherhood came out, and then I refused to watch Brotherhood for a while.
I still haven't watched Brotherhood because I cried at the end of like it was so good that I started Brotherhood and I'm like, I don't know, this feels weird.
You can't mess with that. But yeah, I was super into anime, really enjoyed it, drew a lot of like original characters and stuff, was into drawing, and all my friends were like, Lexis, why don't you take art classes? Why don't you go to art school? And I was like, you can't tell me what to do. So I didn't pursue it. I thought that it was going to be lame and not feasible. And then when I went to freshman orientation at University of North Texas, they called my original major, and I didn't stand up. I stayed in my seat, and I waited until they called for the College of Visual Arts and Design. And I went along. I said that I was supposed to be on their roster for interior design. I changed my major. I took a sculpture class, and I fell in love with working in a 3D medium.
So you gotta be honest. Did you really want to do visual arts, or was that just the last one alphabetically?
I think I knew. Like,
Okay.
I told myself, like, don't do it, Lexis. This is going to be a mistake. And
you
then
want to do this more than xylophone.
And then I was like, yes, okay, yeah. Visual arts,
Yeah.
V is cool.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. No. That's really great that you made that decision right on there, and you're like, no, I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah.
So I mean, to them, it really doesn't matter what you're going for. So making sure you're happy. So did you have a good time at North Texas?
Oh, it was a great time. I feel like I also didn't do any research into the college that I applied for. I just went because some of my friends were going, but I lucked out. UNT has a great sculpture program, has a great professor, and my mentor is also Alicia Eggert. The professors at UNT are very invested in the students and growth and provide a lot of opportunities. I've been able to do public work prior to Franconia because the college just treats the students really well. So it was a blast. I made sick friends. I miss them because of COVID. Haven't been able to hang out. But yeah, had a great experience overall.
That's great. So what other forms of media do you like to work with? Do you paint or do music or anything like that?
Whenever I originally started doing drawing and stuff, I did get into like digital art. I had like a Wacom pen and touch tablet and drew with that. For when I was into anime, I also did like anime music videos. So I did some loose video editing. I'd like to get back into more digital forms of creating. I think I spend so much time on the computer anyways, it kind of makes sense. Right now, I'm really leaning heavily into performance art, actually, because I feel like the interaction of yourself and your own body when discussing certain narratives just is so much more powerful. So performance art and digital art are kind of things that I'm curious about, but haven't really solidified anything yet.
What sort of narratives do you like to talk about with your art?
Oh, geez. Okay. It'll get a little bit, it's a lot.
Of course. Share whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah. So I had a really traumatic childhood. I've been a victim of sexual molestation. I've been a victim of emotional abuse, verbal abuse. Most of my family has a lot of substance abuse and alcohol abuse issues. Really pretty crazy things.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah, it's literally, it's kind of crazy. And I've been through a lot of things that really affected me mentally growing up that I didn't realize would affect me. It's like a delayed effect.
Yeah.
And as I started to make art, there was one piece that I made that touched upon religion and my relationship with my church, which is kind of where some of the things went down. And being able to talk about that was just so cathartic, and it made me realize that I want to do art for myself as a way of healing, as a way of taking back and reclaiming this trauma and making something beautiful that I'm proud of instead. So those are the narratives I talk about are not so fun, but I try to create them in a way that is visually kind of beautiful, so people are more inclined to talk about these things.
Yeah, no, I mean, making it, that's something we were talking a little bit about the differences in the Midwest, and sharing your feelings is something a lot of Midwesterners, I feel like, have a hard time doing, and maybe that is just from my perspective and it goes across the globe, but yeah, just being able to talk about hard issues and hard topics with the people you care about most, it's important. Good thing to bring up and normalize.
Yeah, it's a lot, and hopefully by doing this I'll get more comfortable, and of course if anyone ever feels more comfortable seeing this work, which I've had some good experiences with, then we'll all be a little bit better for it, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up about your piece or living in Minnesota?
Geez. So I've only been in Minnesota for 2 months. We briefly talked about the cold is something I'm unfamiliar with, but I've been really shocked at how welcoming the people here, especially at Franconia, but just in general, there's been this understanding of whenever I say I'm an artist is something that people recognize.
Yeah.
And they're familiar with the term. They'll even ask questions like, what medium do you use or work with? And it's like, like what that means? Like, that's awesome. So being in Minnesota has been really cool with that regard.
Yeah, Minnesota is a fun place. I agree. The cold is the worst thing in the world, and I've tried to get out before, but I'm stuck here for a little bit, and that's fine. Part of us being that Minnesota nice is we get through the winter together. We all understand how it can be tough. Some people love it. They think it's fun because it changes seasons, but they're crazy. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, this is great. I'm really glad that you're up here in Minnesota making cool art,
Cool.
checking out the area and spreading the love. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for being on. Is there anything else you want to plug? Your Instagram or a website, something like that?
My website is lexisthompson.com. My Instagram is very bad, but I'm still creating a body of work since I'm new, but it's art.lexis.optimist. Lexis is Lexis, and optimist is OPTIMIST.
Thank you, Lexis, for being on, and check out her work here at Franconia, and follow her on Instagram and check out her website.
Cool. Thank you.
See ya!